It's Tech Time with Sweet Tea, and I want to help and show people how to use the technology that's out there, not to be afraid of it, but to use it more as a tool to help you support you in your life. And I want to talk to as many people as possible. Jon, thank you for coming in today. How do you pronounce that name? I just want to make sure I'm getting it right.
You can say Quénard. Yeah.
Jon Quénard.
Quénard, yeah.
But thank you for giving, as you said, but right before we started the recording there, and you're my guinea pig in all this as I'm testing this new method. I started this podcast, and all the other content will be still up there, still as I talk with actors and filmmakers in the past, and I'll probably still do one of those from time to time because I love connecting with my people as I'm in the broadcast and production world. We're here to talk about, what was that?
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I was wondering what got you to start this new podcast, and I'd love to. You told me a little bit about it, but I'd love to hear what you're thinking.
We can actually start there, and I love telling this story too. What got me started is what we're talking about for 30 minutes before. Lewis Howes, as you know, Lewis Howes inspired me to start doing this podcasting thing. His podcast was the very first one I listened to. Then I got into the School of Greatness Academy, and as I'm like wearing all that stuff now, but I don't. That's one brand I don't mind wearing anywhere. And it was towards the end of that, and it's like thinking about he has you really thinking about your mission, your meaningful mission, as he's now come to say things now. He has you think about your meaningful mission, and he's like, what do you want to do? What do I want to do? I always wanted to be on like a production broadcast team, and now I kind of am, and I have been since 2010 with a sports network region, and now I'm with one of the regions too, professionally. Or I help the social media team with distribution and publishing stuff there. And he helped me realize, and that group helped me realize that to connect more with that side of the world too. And I started up the podcast started calling it In the Film World with Sweet Tea. Can't remember. That was October 2017 when I first was doing that. And lately, I know you did, but what exactly you do? Like, I know you do something events. You're event manager now. A little bit what you do as first.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2017 from the University of Richmond, and I moved to New York. Found a dream job as a first marketing hire of an event technology startup. So we basically help events build a website and an app that they could use for their events, and so they could connect people at the event. They could give them a schedule so people could plan out their event before even getting on site. And it was truly amazing. We started with a team of less than 10, and in 4 years we grew, I think, to more than 25 people. And then over the course of I would say a year during the pandemic, I started burning out. I started not taking care of my health, going to sleep at 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 a.m., waking up and being stressed at work, not essentially resetting at the end of each day with some kind of healthy routine. And because of my background as athlete and competitor, I have a lot of stamina, and so for an entire year, I basically told myself it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Like you got this. But I kept doing the same cycle of going to sleep late. I was vaping a lot, and personally, that wasn't helping my stress. And I wasn't eating that well, and I was smoking a ton of weed. And to shove down the emotions of me not being fulfilled at work. Then after that, I left. I quit the startup in September of last year, 2021, and I went on 3 to 4 months of trying to reset, being basically like stuck at home, not being able to work or anything. And then I went. The only thing that helped me was starting small projects at home and living life very simply. Then I went on the internet. I was like, I need to do something drastic. I need to make a change here. So I went on a 10-day meditation retreat where you don't talk, you don't have a phone, you don't have any books, you're not journaling or anything. You're just meditating for 10 hours a day, like 1 hour at a time, and eating and sleeping and just, thinking through your life, basically, while you're in your thoughts. And that helped me reset and become sober, and create like a daily meditation routine, that has helped me a lot in really in many ways, and has helped me get out of a huge slump basically. um, but yeah, that's kind of the path of my last 4 to 5 years so far.
Uh, yeah, that sound meditation is what I've been hearing. I do a little bit of that. Like I think the closest that I so far got to, and I me being laid back in it and shy and impatient sometimes too, and I lose patience with the meditation, and I I don't know if it's as effective as it could be sometimes, but Wim Hof breathing, I've done a little bit of that. I guess that's considered meditation if you do that as well with the breathing technique. I've done a little bit of that, but that can be scary for some people. It's definitely too. That can be a scary thing. Just living with just your thoughts and no other. Just acknowledging what's inside your head. So those thoughts can be scary and mean sometimes, downright mean.
Yeah,
And it's learning how to management. That's what's so. And last year for me, I know you too. Like the biggest thing with emotional intelligence to learning and realizing all that big
yeah,
thing. What question for you? And you mentioned Richmond. So I've actually been to Richmond. It's a nice. Actually, kind of like being in Richmond when I was visiting her. My sister was briefly there. She moved away again, but I actually kind of like Richmond was a nice little town. But would you say one thing that supported you when you're controlling your thoughts, when you're the best thing?
the best thing that supports me to control my thoughts. That's the question.
Yes.
um I think in the last 9 months, I've been, just to give you context, I've been meditating anywhere from 15 minutes to 2 hours a day consistently. And I've noticed that my thoughts are like, it just doesn't stop, and it's never going to stop, probably. Well, it's not. That's what makes me human, It's what makes everyone human. So for me to by the way, I feel like I'm like, I don't wanna sound like I'm an expert or anything. Like, um, I feel like I have 5 to 10% more control over my thoughts after the last 9 months. And so that's not much, but it feels like a big thing when I compare it to myself, a year or 2 years ago.
All you need is 1%, right?
Yeah, yeah, that
1% each day.
1% makes a big difference. Yeah, for me, it's just a couple percent over the last
Mm.
9 months, and we're talking at an interesting time because I would say in from February to August, September, um, I was on a like a consistent high-ish, like there are ups and downs every day, but on a I was feeling 10 times better than I was last year. Now that we're talking, the past month, I've been lower in some aspects. So I think it's an interesting time that we talk because I can speak about how I am controlling my thoughts while being sort of in a dip, so to say. But the one thing that's helped me the most by far is Vipassana meditation, which is the act of following your natural breath. It's almost like letting and just observing it and letting the breath breathe me and noticing that it's automatic and that I'm like my thoughts and everything in my head isn't really me almost. I'm just observing life through this like body and and after doing this for 15, 20, 45 minutes, an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, it's become easier to quiet down the mind and have thoughts that arise that are more helpful or more compassionate or more positive than the ones that are super negative. And yeah, so yeah, to answer your question, it's Vipassana meditation. It's being able to quiet down the mind for an extended period of time and then once I get out of the meditation noticing that okay, like there are not as many thoughts. The thoughts that come are on average more positive, and the ones that are negative or unhelpful or harmful, um, I can notice them a little bit quicker and stop them and shift rather than rolling to the dirt until I act in a way that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Mhm.
But I do want to say that it takes it has taken me a lot of time to and a lot of effort to instead of rolling into my negative thoughts and feeling depressed about something for an hour straight or like 3 days straight, with all of that effort I've done in the past 9 months, instead of rolling in the dirt for 3 days straight, I'll only roll in the dirt for two and a half. So it's I just want to say it's been really helpful, but it's also not like I feel like a superhero, like
Mhm.
at all. Um, and that in itself has been a very humbling experience because I'm telling you, like after I came from that meditation retreat, like there's a part of me that felt like, okay, I am there. I can feel the Jesus Christ in me or the Buddha in me, and like my life is set now. I'm good. I know I know everything. Um, but yeah, life happened, and I was quickly humbled to realize that okay, no, like this was a little. I got a little glimpse of what heaven can feel like, or the positive things I can feel in my body. But it's also I'm here to accept like what is, and I can't feel like that high even if I'm sober all the time. That's just not how it goes all the time.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. When one thing that comes came to me, I was thinking there's, and I could be wrong. I'm an expert. That's why I want to talk with a bunch of people, ask a bunch of people this, and learn what actually people say. But when when it comes to thoughts, and I'm going somewhere with this too, like when starting out with the thoughts and everything, and I explain where I'm going to. But like when it comes to thoughts, would you say it's there's a time to just not think and do, and then later on you sit back and reflect, and it's that's then all you do. So there's a time and a place. Would you say that?
So you're asking me if there's a time and a place to think and a time and place not to think?
Hmm. Like
Um,
just think and maybe not react, and just take action, taking action, and then thinking later.
yeah, I think, it's very also individual. I can sit here and tell you all about my experience and lessons and advice and things like that. But at the end of the day, like it's different and for each person in each moment. So for me, um, lately I've noticed that I make better decisions when I'm calm and serene. So I'll just sometimes pause throughout the day, um, and breathe for literally just breathe or drink water and before making a big decision. And then other times there's just no time to think. Like if I'm in the middle of some kind of intense conversation with someone or meaningful conversation or an intense like sports match, like I don't have time to think. So and that's okay too. Like I don't think we have to be always perfectly calm and like zen and like at the highest vibing energy to take action. Um, yeah, which is a trap that I've fallen into a lot actually. The trap of thinking that I need to be this like really high vibing individual at all times the and then and then take action from there, but that's just not possible, I've noticed.
So every time I start recording, I have water in the too. Every time I start recording, my throat just starts wanting to make me clear my throat. Something happened when you press record.
Yeah.
There you go again. Oh, we're still good. Okay. Went quiet there for a minute. I was hearing background noises, and see, when it comes to thoughts, and like I had mentioned, and I get into some like tech stuff and what I do with Toastmasters, and what I gather from my meeting you and talking with you, that you're, I would say you're an introvert. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, if the definition of introvert is where I get my energy from, I think I'm sort of pretty balanced, but I would say I'm more on the introvert side. I recharge by being alone and
Hmm.
generally in a quiet or environment.
And I'm essentially that same way as well. I'd consider myself still, even though today I wouldn't turn down a stage speaking thing. And I have a quote that I like to say for myself that I don't know if someone else said it, but I like to say it, but say that in a second. But I'm an introvert too, and I think and what I always tell people, like my 10-year-old self would be scared of what I'm currently doing. Like I would scare my 10-year-old self. And look, I been active in Toastmasters. I like to talk about two things: Toastmasters and School of Greatness. And I'm starting to like bring that up in the Toastmasters and speeches there too, and people are starting to be intrigued by it. And Toastmasters, I've been active the entire time since 2013, and I've since lately taken on like stuff with a district up here in the Dallas area and putting on events. And I know you're big on events too, and you do the whole event manager or whatever. We can get into that too. I always look to the next thing, look to keep going. There's a time to step back, as you say, to breathe, drink water, and if you're getting too many angry thoughts in your head, step back. And that always helps me just take deep breaths and come back at a with a different approach. So that's one thing that helps and supports me when I get wild and crazy as well. So it's the start, I guess, of meditation. So I guess that's a first big tip when dealing in a ever so increasing tech tech world. Just got to know when to step back, and I know I do this myself at least one day a week, a digital detox where I go without my phone. Just
That's
like
awesome.
yesterday, I stepped back from it. I was mad at it, and so as I was telling you before record that I was mad at my phone because this new setting was changed and I couldn't figure it out. So I just left it behind. I was like, all right, I don't need you right now. So it's knowing when to step back from technology, but also realizing it can be a tool as well. And that's the kind of things I want to talk with people about. What's supporting you? What is not supporting you? What would you want to see less of? What would you want to see a little more of that would support you? And how would you use that to increase your productivity in life and increase your effectiveness in life? So starting with what's start with what doesn't work maybe. What
Yeah.
would you like to see less of with any technology?
You know, I- I'll I'll mention what I can control, and so what I want to see less of in my own actions is the doom scroll, right? You know,
Oh yeah.
there's a mental shortcut that called the unit bias, where if there's something on your plate, you're going to try to finish it, and so that's what social media
Ooh,
sites are like exploiting is
great
the
analogy. Yeah, great.
like we're just trying to finish it, clean it up, and it just doesn't stop. Not only it doesn't stop, but the content is extremely tailored to our to our liking. So I go on YouTube and I see recommended videos. I'm like, yes, 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 and that love it. You know, it's perfectly tailored to what I want to see, and they know it, and they're so good at it.
They
And
scary. Yeah, it's good. So they know it so what they
they know
scare you.
exactly what we want. And so what I want to see less of is the unintentional content consumption. What I want to see more of is intentional content consumption when needed at the end of the day. For and it comes down to like asking myself like pausing and be like, wait, why am I doing this? What am I watching? Why? And then keep asking why until it get to the point where it's like, well, this matters to me a lot because XYZ, or well, because I'm just trying to avoid that thing I really need to do. Now, I do want to say that like it can get uh, well, from my experience, it can get very like emotional and scary because when I ask myself why am I scrolling right now, it's usually because I'm avoiding to do something that is extremely painful for some reason or another, or that is really, really scary. So in a way, the social media scrolling is like really bad, but it's also really helpful. And something my therapist like helped me see was that the doom scroll, yeah, it's bad and you can talk crap about it all day long, but it's a defense mechanism for me. It's a defense mechanism to protect me from something that's very painful or very scary. So it's like, it's like trying to think. It's like shin guards if you're if you're roller skating or something. It's my brain is trying to protect me from doing that really scary thing, which could be, I don't know, having calling someone I love and having a real conversation with them that I've wanted to have for a while. Or it might be doing that task that I really don't know how to do and I've tried to do 25 times and have failed every time. Um, so that distraction, that doom scrolling or that endless consumption of content is helpful in a way because it's helping me appease those intense emotions. Um, so yeah, in I think it's the thing I'm moving to go back to your question. What I want to see less of is less time doom scrolling, but also what I want to see more of is more um, clarity on why I'm here and why I'm doing certain things, so that I can be on social media for to fill in that purpose versus to avoid certain things that I want to move towards too, if that makes sense.
So now, what I'm, what I heard from and gathered from that, it's just intention. Do you have an intention with the scroll, or are you just scrolling to kill time or to avoid something else? And one thing is just set an intention. I hear this so often. Declare how you want to show up in the day. I've also often see one thing to set that when you're scrolling, go be it when you're looking for something, and you're looking for like three things or four or five things, and you're looking for examples. Like me, if I want to look for like show topics, look for like five ideas, scroll, and when I get my five ideas, I'm done. I got my ideas, and that could be a useful. May take you 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Take me to 20 or 30 minutes to scroll and see ideas. When I get my ideas, then I stop and done. Then I activate my newsfeed eradicator. Then I that's one thing that probably would be helpful for everyone. A newsfeed. It works on Instagram, works on YouTube, works on Facebook, and you just don't see newsfeed. You don't you don't see all that stuff show up. They try to keep people on their platform, and scrolling does it, and they find the content that you like. You're gonna stay on their platform. That you're gonna watch certain things. Certain things. I actually go to church on Facebook too. That's another thing. I One of my Woodlands church. I watch that on Facebook too. So I'm hearing intention. I'm hearing, and make sure you set an intention when you go do those things, so you don't get lost in the feed.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it's an awesome tool you're talking about. What was that called? News Eradicator?
News feed eradicator. It's a plugin that I downloaded on my Chromium Brave browser. I use a Brave browser. Nice privacy settings for that too.
Cool. Oh yeah, it's that's for sure really important. Trying to think what else is helpful. I think for me, what's been helpful is to be less hard on myself about when it happens or I catch myself in the act. A lot of many of the moments where I realize like, wow, like I literally feel like I wasted the entire day or half of the day or half of the week these moments have only accumulated to that point because when I caught myself towards the beginning, I was like being hard on myself, be like, I cannot believe that, um, I cannot believe that I've been scrolling for like 30 minutes while avoiding that really important thing. And then I tell myself, well, it's been 30 minutes, might as well throw the whole thing away,
Hmm.
Um, and giving myself, yeah, just being super hard on myself. So I think what's been important is also like giving myself a lot of grace and just acknowledging like what is happening right now and that it is okay. Like it's totally okay that I feel like I wasted that time. What can I learn from this moment and how can I adapt? Um, and to be real, like when that works and I actually feel like I've been really hard on myself and I do forgive myself, oftentimes for me, like tears will come out being like, it's almost like, oh, thank God, like I've been needing this acceptance from myself, literally. Um, and after the tears have come and gone, then there's a sense of like peace again that comes, a sense of blank slate. And from there, usually good things start to happen, or things that aren't as bad as before. And my actions become better. Um, so, yeah, I think for me, like being less hard on myself and accepting that I'm not all that and that I made a mistake is huge to redirect myself into the direction that I truly want to go to.
Yeah, acknowledging, recognizing, and being there for all the thoughts, all the feelings, all that, and then once you recognize, acknowledge them, and then you let them go, and then new thoughts come in. That's and and it's that cycle. If you hang on to one thing, if being happy, it may sound crazy, but being hang on to happy thoughts, you won't really experience anything else. You have a sad thought, feel it, like and you want to remove it, but let it be, and then move on.
Mm, yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The like I said, it comes up time. The thought keeps coming back. They don't go away. They're gonna keep coming, but just gotta be at some point. Bring it right. Just bring it all
Yeah,
on, and then clear them.
yeah, it's very interesting. Like um, lately, there's just been that one instance a couple months ago. I was really frustrated about something, and then I got frustrated about being frustrated, and then it just kept escalating. And it wasn't until I was like, okay, I'm frustrated and accepting that it started moving. So it's a really, yeah, it's kind of a tricky concept to actually be in the emotion that we're in instead of trying to look for, move towards the thing that we really want or move away from the thing that we're really scared of. And I haven't found a better tool uh, personally than meditation. The one reason why I think and not guided meditation, just meditation where you're following your own breath and sensing the sensations in your body shifting and realizing that everything is changing all the time. Um, I think that's the most helpful for me because the wisdom that arises from these moments of true stillness and quiet is wisdom that comes from my own life experience, right? Like, for example, anyone listening to this right now, they're listening to Tommy and John talking from the lens of their own life experience. And so the person listening to this can pick up on ideas and concepts that might be helpful for their life. But at the end of the day, like, it's only going to come from within, like the true helpful, um, impactful, and at the end of the day, relevant comes from inside in your own experience. And I cannot, like, this is actually one of the reasons, like, we're talking about Summit of Greatness, and the speakers there that give essentially like really great TED Talks for 20 minutes to an hour. Um, I did not find it as helpful for my life based on the last 9 months of meditation that I've done, because the advice that I'm getting from my meditations are so tailored and unique to my own situations versus a speaker talking about their life experience and how it relates to mine. Um, yeah, so I think at the end of the day, like, I think it's we all almost know the answer, and we're yet okay. I'm going to speak for myself. A lot of times when I ask myself a question or I ask someone else a question, I already know the answer, especially when it's around like, what should I be? What do you think I should do? Or, should I around yeah, a lot of times when I ask someone a question, it's either, to connect with them and have have a create a relationship, a connection, a friendship. A lot of times when I'm asking for questions around what to do in my life or how to do something, it's more because I'm scared of the answer that I already know. And that's been helpful. So to like as a shortcut, because I don't need to ask for reassurance or someone else's advice. I can just shortcut to like, okay, I'm actually going to do the thing, even if it's really scary or something.
One things when you mentioned in the the early part of that response, and wanting to get back to that, when you said your thoughts about your thoughts, and in the industry world, broadcast world, we have a term kind of like it kind of made me think of that feedback loop and audio feedback.
Mm.
Thoughts about your thoughts, like I started me thinking, is that would you call that a thought loop? Like
Yeah,
it
it's like a
amplifies your thoughts. Feedback amplifies it so much it's annoying. So thought loop amplifies your thoughts.
yeah, that's a really good way to put it. And it can be very helpful and amazing and also terrible. Like the obvious example is rolling in your own dirt of thoughts and amplifying this the feeling of angst or anxiety or uh, creating disasters that haven't happened yet or might never happen. The opposite is also very true. Whereas, for example, uh, you can meditate for an hour when then you're done and you're in a very calm and serene state. Then you can focus on a loving kindness meditation, and then you can roll around thoughts of compassion for others and for yourself and having of pleasant memories or pleasant visions of the future, imagining that everyone around you, all your friends and your family is happy, and rolling around those thoughts, that does the same effect of like, it's like this energy effect is very, very pleasant. Honestly, it's like it's it's a feeling that's very powerful. So yeah, thought loops are can be very helpful or not, depending on the situation.
And I heard you say the big key in there is taking care of yourself first, making sure it's how would there's many ways to put it. Fill yourself up, or fill your cup up first, and then to look outward to support and help. If you don't fill yourself, then that's where burnout comes in and everything. You're not filled up.
Yeah, there's a quote from the Buddha, and I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it's like, "Be selfish, knowing very well where your best interest lies, which is in serving others." So, like, you're serving others, you're serving yourself, and it
Yes,
takes care of both.
that's how I see Toastmasters. Toastmasters is like my fill my cup, and like tell they think people come to me in Toastmasters all the time. I do stuff for them. It's like thank you for doing this. Like you're really like servant leader. You're doing this for you're helping me out. You help, but I'm starting to tell people this too. Like I'm doing this for selfish reasons. Like this
Yeah,
event audio setup and all this stuff. This is me being selfish, but it's helping them too. It's like it's it's a crazy like feeling that it's filling me up, but it's at the same time outward as well. So it's rare that you can find something that way too.
and it's funny when people thank you too, you're like, I mean, this is
Like
kind of
this is
awkward because it's awkward because 'cause I'm doing this for myself, but I'm glad you're happy too. Yeah.
But if you can find something that way when it tech or not tech, and I want to get into the good side of stuff too a little bit. What do you like most? But if you can find that balance, we mentioned that too before we started recording. Finding the balance. If you can where you do this and you're not getting burned out, you keep going hard, multiple teams, multiple this, multiple do this over here and here, but also like stay centered, stay calm. Yeah, I consider myself still pretty calm, and I like to I do my own thing when I lay back, and but I'm still going at things as well. In a weird way. It helps me stay calm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
And then
balance and
when I hit on the computer like or phone or social media, then I think I don't go to that first, and I use that as maybe a starting tool, and then like oh I'm not afraid to I'm not opposed to go out and meet someone these days. Where 10 years ago that was me when I was first starting. That what was Fox Sports down in the woodlands, not knowing that it's web and sports today. Now I'm doing all these things with that too, and doing events and running events and learn one thing new each day for that and getting that better. What can I improve the next time from the last? What works, what doesn't work. So we talked a lot about what we don't we rather not see in tech. What is something that's been really supportive of you when it comes to tech? Anything tech? What's really supports you? That you like something that's
yeah, you know,
support your life mission. What supports your mission?
I would say let me think about that. What's been really supportive with technology that supports, my life mission? I would
And
say
I can edit too if you have to have these pauses. You have
yeah,
to
yeah,
think.
you can edit that one. Um, I just wanna give a good answer and a truthful answer. So for me okay, so for me, what helped me with technology is, like, shifting my perspective and by doing something very drastic. So we're talking about so what are we talking about in the first place is in the first place for me was, content consumption until I pass out 3 to 4 AM. Um, that's a problem, right? Or I saw that as a problem. What's been really helpful is doing something drastic, like I need to change this crazy habit because I cannot see myself doing this for any longer. And that drastic thing um, was basically not using any technology for 10 days and like going to somewhere else and doing something I really loved and was really interested in. So, and for me, that was meditation. But for someone else, it could be completely something completely different. It could be hiking for a, a whole weekend and you don't bring your phone, or it could be um, deleting all of social media or suspending accounts on everything, and for the rest of the year or something. My point is, what's been the most helpful for me was doing something drastic that I would never have done before, and that gives space to my brain be like, whoa, like what's happening right now. It helped me get off of automatic mode and open my eyes and be like, okay, something has changed. What do we do now? um, and it's just giving myself an opportunity to shift direction, by again by doing something drastic. It's kind of like that movie. I don't know if you've seen it, Tommy. It's called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I've not heard of.
So there, in that movie, it's a crazy movie. It's deep and funny, but
What was
they
the
have
movie again?
everything everywhere all at once.
Everything, everywhere, where we were all at once.
And so they have an ability to time jump through space essentially and access any other reality. And the way to do that is by doing, like, they have to they have to do something really random, which will give them the ability to time and space jump. So for example, there's a scene where some guy um, like has to time jump, and he like opens a printer and like pulls his pants down and like jumps on the printer and like takes a printer of his butt. But that's besides the point. But it's like, there is the point is that by doing something you would have never done before, by doing something I've never done before that was like actually drastic, it kind of shortcuts my brain into opening its eyes and seeing that, okay, like this is something happened, which gives me the time and mental space to take a different course of action. Does that make sense? So,
I
so
think so. Give me. I know you gave example earlier about it too. Like what was the?
so
So
my
you,
my
what
my
was yours?
example was to leave my phone
The
and the internet, keep it away for 10 days,
the
and
10
go to
day
this
retreat.
meditation retreat and do something completely different. Like, I've never done that before, and I don't think ever since I've been on the internet, I've had a 10-day break since I was, I don't know, like 11 or something, maybe 10. And that gave me the space to, instead of seeing my life through my own eyes, it kind of gave me a third person perspective of like, oh wait, this is how John has been behaving this past couple years, and this is why. And this kind of see my life like it was a documentary and being like, oh, okay, well, in a horror movie when like the actor is like going down that way, and you're like, no, come on, you're an idiot. Like, obviously, the person is behind that door and is gonna kill you, right? And you have all these alternate scenarios that are 100% better. And you're like, please do not go there. And you see them walking towards that door, and you're like, you're a complete idiot. Like, to me, that felt like that, where I was able to gain control back on my actions because I
Mm.
was sitting on the couch of watching the movie of Jonathan and his life instead of being in the movie and like having all these thoughts and like and acting in a way, just basically reacting to all my habits. So yeah, so to recap, but something that's been really helpful with technology, I would say, is to do something completely drastic and to shortcut my brain into seeing how I've been behaving, um, so that I can use technology now. Like, I'm not against technology, but I use it a little bit more intentionally on average. That's not to say like a couple nights ago I was on YouTube and I watched 2 hours of YouTube when it wasn't necessary at all, you know. So I think it's like finding that balance and fine tuning um, this awareness of using social media and technology.
So that's very helpful. That's and thank you for sharing that. And acknowledge you for the stepping away. I do it for a day, and it feels fantastic for a day, like 1 day a week. I definitely
Mm.
try to do at least 1 day a week. But acknowledge you for taking that 10-day retreat and stepping to. I want to get into one thing before
And
to.
just to add something, excuse me,
Mhm,
I even like that idea better to do it 1 day a week because it
mhm,
creates consistency, right? Like the 10 days that I did, it was extremely drastic and it's been very helpful. But the pattern will come back if there's not some kind of upkeeping, you know? It's like
mhm.
you trim your grass in front of your house, you know. You don't just do it once every 5 years. So I really like that concept of, you know, once a day, this is my like off day to do other things, you know, like that.
Yeah, technology can be a crutch, like having a phone in the pocket 24/7, and you throw it away. I got mad at the last night. Like I just said, I don't need you right now. You're making me mad. So I left you in the car when going visit and stepped away. But what it does, I like the one thing that it does. It forces you instead of using GPS and or you're asking people for directions. You're going out and actually doing the connecting yourself. You're being you and not behind the screen. And I like that. I like what that does and
Mm.
makes you more you than someone who has a piece of technology and but what one thing what I really so we had one thing that you don't like what newsfeed, what a piece of software or a piece of technology that really supports you.
Um, yeah, I mean, you know,
Like,
I
if there is one thing.
totally, I'm looking at my phone right now. Yeah, there's one that jumps to me right away, and I'm not gonna surprise you. It's a meditation app. You know, it's what I use to set up my day and finish my day every day. Um, yeah, meditation app.
You mind sharing what the app is?
Yeah, it's called Dhamma.org, Dhamma. And Dhamma.org is also the website where you can sign up for these meditation retreats. So it's a very specific kind of meditation. Um, I use Calm, and my wife has used Headspace for many
Mhm.
years, and I think it was very helpful, but it also was kind of touching the tip of the iceberg in terms of meditation. I used to meditate to, to feel a little bit calmer, and more productive. But it also felt n- kind of new age, and I think I prefer this Vipassana meditation technique because it's touching. It's very, what's the word? true to where it came from. It's the meditation technique that the Buddha taught, which is, like as simple and as no fluff as you can make it, so that's why I prefer that one now.
Ap I was gonna share, like, the one thing that really supports me and how I organize everything, how I can do so much of this, here, over here. Calendar app.
Yeah, absolutely.
I put thing if I put it helps, like, too, whether in person or a virtual like this, you can put a link, you can put an address in the calendar, and then say, "GPS, take me to this address." "Computer, take me to this Zoom meeting." And I put on the calendar, then my computer, as it showed me, or when it gave me alert an hour ago for 11 o'clock noon Eastern schedule. It's the alerts show up. I click on it, say, "Take me to the link," or how long of a drive to. So calendar app was a big time
Oh, so
supporter for me.
you use voice commands?
Actually, I did that occasionally, but you just type in also to in the calendars, and they got really smart these days. And you type in this time and this place, and it actually finds a day for you, and takes you right to the day on the week. You just type it in, and it takes from your text when you type it in
Mm,
time, place, and date, and it adds it right on that day, and you just go and edit and put in links and notes,
yeah, it's
anything you
awesome.
need to know about the event
Yeah,
and
calendar is
where I
key.
need to be, and that's what really supports me and why I'm able to do what I do and still keep a sane head.
Yeah. No, yeah. Calendar app is great. It almost makes things less it almost makes things more boring because it's like, "Okay, now I got this, now I
Mhm.
got this." But it's a good thing. It's like it's not there's no drama of being scattered. They're just focused, organized, and, get more done to hopefully serve others.
Actually, if I'm not careful, I can go down, and we talk about this, like, just a thought loop or a rabbit hole kept talking about. I can get into like a calendar rabbit hole where I just because my events and everything can be like quite colorful. I have different colors for different types of events, and it's like if it's there's like this week, there's a lot going on this week, and it's like a different multiple amount of colors and everything. So I can get like mesmerized, like, oh, I have a lot of stuff. I'm busy, and then I'm just looking at my calendar and thing may not be getting done. Like, oh, I have this coming up. I should better get off this and start doing that.
Sure, yeah, everything can be a rabbit hole.
Again, it goes back to the thought loops.
Yeah. Even meditation can be a bad thing or can be addictive because you get into, like, super calm and pleasant states, whereas, like, if your kid's crying out of your house and you're hearing it during your meditation and you keep meditating, well, what's the use of that? Why are you even meditating? So, no, yeah, I feel you.
But I think I probably a good time we can start wrapping up here and
Yeah.
ask for a little help and support. How should I think what haven't we not touched yet, and what's trying? I had an idea of something how I can close and wrap up to bring your conversations to a close, but
I think I've touched on everything I wanna say. Just thank you for doing this, and, it was really nice chatting with you, and,
I liked to end like with like creative questions, like if you ever listen to School of Greatness. I
yeah.
don't know why I'm typing this in right now. I have stuff in notes and and I can get your opinion on if you want to like take these questions, or I can
Yeah, absolutely.
think of
Let's
this
do it, it sounds fun.
and find where I had these. So bonus questions that I what I typically would do in the past is have these questions, send them out, and say, "Oh, here's questions that you can prepare responses and answers to film question and things about acting, things about directing and filmmaking." And I come down being a filmmaking, and I kind of want to wrap this one, and I'm going to throw in a new question in there too. Here's something actually that I can keep on. What do you want to learn from someone who has seen success multiple times that you're connected with, maybe not connected with yet? What do you want to learn from someone that has seen success?
I'd like to learn from someone that's seen success. Success is a changes for everyone, but
Like, it's success. What you think success is too? Like, what your you don't have to define it necessarily, but your definition of success. What it ever means to you? What if they've seen that type of success? What?
yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is how do I shift when I have a negative assumption or a reaction to someone, how do I quickly change and get out of this mindset to, show compassion and be helpful or, just be good to that person, even if it's just in my thoughts. Because thoughts become things, thoughts become words and become actions. That's the first thing that comes to mind is I've seen the way people come up to a meditation teacher and are very agitated. They'll be very agitated, scared, or sad about something, and the teacher is always so calm and loving. And I think that's a really beautiful skill to accept someone as they are, and provide support or make them laugh or yeah, without reacting negatively about that person because I find them annoying or I find them to be exaggerating or I find them off-putting in any way like that. Yeah, so that's what I would want to learn.
All right, and before I ask this one question that I can like be creative, anything that you're doing now that I can push and doing that support, like with sharing or promoting anything that you're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess it's the one thing that's helped me the most, like obviously I've been talking about it during the whole episode, is those Vipassana meditation retreats. And if I think it can be helpful for other people. So yeah, it's dhamma.org, dhamma.org, and
Oh, that's the app too.
is the app as well. Yeah, and people can go there and find a meditation center close to them, and do your research too. Like look up people's experiences there because it's pretty intense. It's 10 hours a day for 10 days, no phone, and it also you gotta have some kind of level of privilege too to be able to like take 10 days off and say peace. um, so I do acknowledge it's not for everyone. It's not easy, but it's really helpful and it's a fun thing. It's also really fun because you get into yeah, it's like you get to meet yourself in a very different way.
A step back from everything else from your day to day self to see a different part of you or a different you somewhere else.
Yeah, it's a very different perspective. It's like seeing again, it's gonna be very different for every single person. The way I explain it for myself is like
Hmm.
seeing my life as a movie, but I'm not in the movie this time like I am every day. I'm just sitting on the couch and watching. Um,
Hmm.
So it's really fun, can be really scary or depressing, and it's just a beautiful new perspective.
So in a way, it could be like a mirror
Yeah,
for
exactly.
your
It's a
life.
mirror.
See
It's like
yourself in like a mirror.
mhm. It's a lot of work, and
Very cool.
and, it's a it's intense, but yeah, it's cool.
A way to see yourself. I like it. Love it. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks for talking about that up. Yeah, it sounds like fun. Just be ready to get inside all those thoughts
Yeah.
and acknowledge them. As long as you acknowledge them, recognizing them, that's what I've come to learn in the last year. Like it's from my experience with different things. That's when that they don't stay there forever. As soon as you recognize and acknowledge that they're gone.
Yeah, and be selfish by serving others.
Yes, be selfish. I like that quote. Did anyone say that? Was that you?
That is definitely not me. I think it's a quote that I butchered from Buddha.
All right. Let's see, a question that and maybe help me change if, but here's the question I was thinking of. Final question. If you ever listen to School of Greatness, you know why I like to do this because
Okay.
like the three truths. If you ever heard of that, the way
3 truths?
Lewis, the three, your three. Honestly, I can ask this. I can ask two. You can answer both, or you can choose what you want to answer. So the first
Okay.
one, what I've been asking, your perfect. And this is kind of perfect the way you're talking about you in a movie. What is your perfect ending to your story? Where are you? Where you want to be? Who are you with? Like what is your perfect ending to your story, to your movie?
Wow, that's a big question. Um,
Kind of looking at the end of everything and then working your way towards that.
yeah. Yeah, I don't have perfect clarity on that. Um, but one thing that is clear to me is that I would like to be in peace, like, breathe calmly and be happy, just simple as that.
It doesn't matter where you are, just as long as
No, I don't think I have that much control over that. I think it'll just happen,
let things
and
happen.
but you asked me for the ideal ending,
Hmm.
so, surrounded, with family and friends, who aren't also depressed about my departure, but who are all aware that it's a part of life, and you know, it's gonna sound crazy, but it's a celebration, like, it's the end of life is, like, is something really beautiful, and necessary. So my ideal like departure would be around people who are supportive and who are happy for me to go soon. Um, I think that it's very natural for people to be sad when someone's going to die, but it's also not supportive. It's hurting the person who's sad, the person who's leaving, and everyone around them. So that would be my kind of ideal end of story, just in peace with loved ones who are happy about me going soon and me being grateful for the life that I lived.
Okay, one true final question with this debate. I'm still learning and going through this new set of episodes. But again, thank you for this and for stepping in and going. I think it would work well. We had a ton of stuff to talk about. And one thing I want to ask of you is we talked about what you didn't like per se, or and what's one thing you was really supportive? What's one thing that you have not seen yet, and you, if you could like just magically give the skills of software skills, or what would you want to create, or like, or build, or what would you? Is there
With
anything that
technology?
you want to create?
With technology specifically?
Yes.
Interesting. Something that I haven't seen and had the desire to create with technology?
And if you had all the skills to do it,
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know how it would even work, right? But you said I don't need to know how. I don't know, a way for a way for politicians and people in power to come together and shut up and just be around each other, to have them, yeah, maybe a way for politicians in power to come together so they can just calm down and realize that they're everyone's human in the room and around the world, and everyone wants to be happy, and that, I don't know, some kind of technology that would get them to work together for a common goal. Yeah, I think what's rubbing me,
that's a good idea. Yeah.
I don't know, what's rubbing me the wrong
I mean,
way.
yeah, it's supposed it could be as creative, and that my thought of it being j- just something that starts to thinking and everything. I think I like to have people think.
Yeah, you're making me
Apparently,
think, that's for sure. Those are some big questions, I like it. But yeah, something,
I learned from the person who does that the best.
yeah, that's
Three
awesome.
truths. What is your three truths? You lost all your stuff that you did created is gone. What is the three truths that you learned to be true about your life?
That's great. You want
Kind
me
of
to answer
along
that
that
too?
same. If you want,
Yeah, let's do it. So repeat the question because I missed the beginning.
is I kind of mimic that end of your story towards with that same idea in mind, but turned into a movie, creating a movie, kind of set
Yeah.
up a story ending. But it's your last day on Earth. You're where you want to be. You're with the person you want to be, your wife, and you're exactly there. You've done everything, but for whatever reason, the world just it shuts down. And when you go, you take everything you've done, all the stuff that you put out. It all goes with you. That everyone knows you, and all that stuff that people know about you is gone, and all you have is a piece of paper and a pencil, and just write down three truths about your life that you've learned in your life that know to be true.
Okay. The best wisdom comes from within yourself. Second truth is the way to access this wisdom is by meditating for extended period of times. And third truth to me is that friendship is the most important thing along in life.
Jon Quénard, thank you so much for doing this. I had fun talking some technology, talking some meditation. Hope to do it again when there's some other stuff maybe come up, and some different conversation when they maybe talk about a movie. You mentioned a movie, we can come back on another day, talk about it too. I'm always down for talking about anything culture items as well.
Thanks for having me, Tommy. It was a pleasure.